explaining why you're interested in the firm, this will be a great opportunity for you to stand out. Welcome back to The Law Process
with me, Jade,
and me, Grace. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, you already know what to do. Like, comment and subscribe.
In today's video, we'll be giving you 5 tips to make sure you stand out in your training contract application. These will be things that you need to do before writing your training contract application to get you ahead of the game.
Yes, so quite a lot of people have similar work experiences and similar grades, so therefore you do need to do something that will make you stand out.
So number 1, you want to attend as many open days as you can. A lot of law firms have moved their open days online, so you want to make sure that you're applying for as many open days as possible. By interacting with people from the firm, you'll not only get your foot into the door by knowing someone, you can also find out information by speaking to trainees and recruiters that you wouldn't find from just reading a company website or browsing the net.
Once you've attended an open day, you can also include this under your work experience section in the application. Also, when explaining why you're interested in the firm, this will be a great opportunity for you to stand out and talk about what you've learned at the open day. So for example, in the application, you can write something along the lines of, I am particularly interested in your real estate practice area, and after speaking to John Smith from the firm, he gave me real insight too. And then you can include what you spoke about at the open day, as this shows that you have a connection in the firm and you actually have a real understanding of what is actually going on in the firm from somebody who works there.
Yes, and if you are lucky, a trainee or someone that you've spoken to may recommend you to a recruiter and put in a good word for you.
But if for whatever reason you were unable to connect with any trainee or recruiter at the open day, then our second advice is to connect with trainees via LinkedIn.
Reach out to trainees at the firm you want to apply for to find out what their perspective is on the firm's culture and their opinion on what they like about the firm. However, reaching out to people on LinkedIn can admittedly be a bit of a hit and miss. So one thing that I did that helped me was to reach out to people that I thought had a similar background to me, and I tailored my message to them. Here is an example of a time that I reached out to a trainee when I was applying for a training contract at their firm. I highlighted the fact that we were both NTU alumni, and I did my research to understand that he was a paralegal before he became a trainee, so his understanding of the firm may be a little bit more in-depth. I then asked a question about competitors that the firm may have, and highlighted to him that this question was not a question on the application, but just something that I genuinely wanted an insight into. So you want to make sure that you're not just going with a list of questions, but you're having a conversation with someone and being personable. So the similar background may be that you went to the same university, that you're both international students, or anything that you could have in common. You want to highlight that and start a conversation based on that.
Our third advice is to build on your experience. Try and get as many work experience as you can in the area of law that you're interested in, so that you can actually highlight why this is a real interest on your application. There are currently loads of opportunities online for you to get experience without any experience at all. So for example, Law Careers Net hosts a program every year which has now been moved online. As part of this one-day program, you will be able to attend workshops with different firms to get an insight into different practice areas.
I personally attended this program 2 years ago, where I did 2 workshops with DWF and CMS in banking and real estate respectively. I worked with trainees at the firm to do practical exercises that were typically done by them. Not only was this great networking experience, but I also added it to my work experience to boost my application.
And there is also a website called The Forage, which gives you access to free virtual experience programs. It is essentially the equivalent of doing work experience at a law firm, but online. There are courses with Linklaters, Clifford Chance, White & Case, and many more. And after completing the course, you will receive a branded completion certificate, and this can be really good on your CV and can heighten your chances of getting that training contract.
Tip number 4 is that ahead of writing your training contract application, you really want to think about how you're going to sell yourself and your work experience.
Yes, so we would advise you to get a large piece of paper and jot down all the experiences that you have and the skills that you've gained from those experiences. And then separately, when it comes to the application, you can tailor those experiences to the firm.
And then on a separate piece of paper, you want to brainstorm all the things that make you you. This can be from your hobbies and interests to your unique upbringing. This is not a time to dim down and be shy, but a time to really try and oversell yourself. You want to make sure that in your application, your personality is being highlighted and your unique selling point, the thing that makes you, you. You want to be very intentional about the different things you want to include on your application, from your work experience to your skills to your hobbies and interests. You want to make sure that all of these things are highlighted to make you stand out. When you're writing your application, get those 2 big pieces of paper and have them either side of you to make sure you're not missing anything out.
Our 5th and final tip is to get prepared. A lot of law firms are now recruiting on a rolling basis, so this means that the later you apply, the less chance you have of getting that TC, so you need to get organised.
There are 2 key ways that we would advise you to get organised. The first is to get an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document, whichever you prefer, and create a table. In this table, you want to have 6 columns. In the first column, you want to list all of the law firms that you want to apply for. In the second column, you want to put the deadline for that application. So that's the deadline given by the law firm. You then want to put the deadline that you want to finish research by. Obviously, throughout your application, you want to be continuously doing research, but this is the deadline that you want to have completed the main bulk of your research. You then want to put the deadline you want to do your first draft by, your second draft by, and finally, when you want to submit your application. So this will be your personal deadline for when you want to submit your application, bearing in mind that recruiters are recruiting on a rolling basis. You want to make sure that you absolutely stick to this deadline to avoid submitting your application late or completely missing the deadline. And we know that applying for training contracts is literally a full-time job, but you want to make sure that you put this time aside.
And our second tip to keep organised is by having your answers prepared. It is inevitable that during the interview process or even on the application, they will ask you why law and why you. So using the brainstorm that we talked about earlier, make sure you use that to have an answer for those questions.
So using those 5 tips that we've given you, you should set yourself ahead of the game when applying for training contracts.
Yeah. If you found that video very useful, especially if you're about to start applying for training contracts, we will be doing more videos that will guide you through your training contract application process. So best of luck, and that brings us to the end of our video.
Bye!